in this video, I'm gonna talk to you why I personally think selling AI systems, tools, and automations to small businesses is the biggest mistake you're making. My name is Anna, and I've been working with the businesses in the agency capacity and a freelance capacity since 2020. I work with businesses that were making 6 figures, 7, 8, 9 figures. I've personally built 3 businesses that are 6 and 7 figures, and I will tell you that there are some reasons why you are struggling to either go past a certain number in revenue or why you can't even generate the income that you want. And the reason is actually working and selling to small businesses. There are several reasons, and I'm going to go over them. So the first reason, which might seem like a good idea, but it's actually a massive pain. So a lot of small businesses, especially if it's local businesses and if it's the boomer-led or boomer-owned businesses, like boring businesses, a lot of them actually don't even use computers to keep the systems. So they write everything by hand, and it's such a mess. They don't have the systems, they don't have any tracking. You can't really optimize anything. You most likely will need to build everything from scratch. Now, could you charge a lot of money to systematize everything for them? You could charge some money, yes, but you're gonna be doing a lot of heavy lifting, which I personally wouldn't want to do. I'd rather come in and help a business optimize whatever is not working, fix whatever is not working, and give them an instant boost and result. But also, small businesses a lot of the time don't have big budgets, which is the reason number 2 why I personally don't recommend working with small businesses. Now, there's one caveat, right? If this is your first ever client, let's say you reached out to somebody who is your friend and maybe they own a roofing company. Can you now work with them? No. Go for it. If it's your very first client, if you're just trying to dip your toes into it, if you're trying to see, can you actually make it work? Is there anybody who will pay you money? Can I even install a particular AI system? I would say go for it, right? If you're making less than $5,000, heck, if you're making less than $10,000, I would say you can still work with smaller businesses, but I would say medium to large size would be a better bet. But if that is your first client, that's fine, okay? Because what you're looking for right now is a case study. You're looking for a testimonial, and also more so the kind of proof to your brain that you can actually do it. Overall, the small businesses have massive problems. They don't have systems. A lot of it is just a mess, and they don't even have big budgets, okay? Now, the reason number 3, and I know this because I have worked with somebody who was working with restaurants. And when he came to me, he said, Lana, I am working literally 16 hours and I'm barely making $10,000 a month. And I told him, like, you're better off would be working 9 to 5. Yes, you might be making, $8,000 or $6,000, but at least you'll be working like 40 hours and you're good to go. Now, the reason for that is because when you're working with small businesses, let's say it's restaurants or maybe even barbershops, when you're working with small businesses, what happens is that usually a lot of them kind of run or operate in this survival mode, so to speak. So they're doing a lot of things. A lot of the time, these small business owners are doing marketing and sales and merchandising and whatever that is, they doing everything. They are overwhelmed, they are hella stressed. And when you come in with the idea, well, I want to really help them, which is a great idea, right? It's a good thing. But if you come in with this idea, what happens is that because they are in this sort of flight or fight survival mode, they will be up your bum expecting you to literally leave it on the floor, everything you've got. And so their stress is going to trickle over to you, which is not a great place to be. Now, as I said, should you not completely work with the small businesses? No, I mean, if it's your first or second one, that's fine, but I would make small businesses your entire niche. Now, please do not mix the small businesses and local businesses, right? Because there are plenty of local businesses that are kind of medium-sized businesses, let's say like roofing companies that are making lots of money, they have budgets, and they do need help with installing AI. The same with med spas, the same with the vet clinics. But for example, a local restaurant, a local coffee shop, a local barber shop, those are fairly small businesses. They barely make 10K a month. So they most likely will not be able to pay you the money that you really want to make. That being said, as a very first client, still a good idea. I just personally wouldn't stick with them for the long term as your entire sort of this is the niche that I'm working with and this is the niche that I'm helping. Another reason is that there is a pretty high churn. As I mentioned, the reasons are because small budgets, they don't really have a whole lot of money to pay you. Then there's also seasonality aspect, right? So for example, if you live in a city like, for example, Fort Lauderdale, the seasons are usually November-ish, December, January, February, March. This is where snowbirds come in. Businesses are booming, especially the small local businesses. They're booming, lots of tourists, great. But then afterward, there is a downtime, right? And so for you, that means that, well, while they might have money to pay you during those 3 to 4 months, for the rest of the year, they won't be able to pay you. So they will have to pause. And then for you, that means that you will have to continuously try and find more clients, and there's going to be lots of stress there, and you have your overheads and you have to build to pay. Another reason there is a high churn is because even though they might love working with you, a lot of small businesses are struggling and have been struggling, especially since 2020. So even though they might be working with you, even though you might want to help them, some of them might be in a state where they will just have to shut down and you lost a client, which basically means what? You need to replace that client over again, which means more stress for you, more sleepless nights for you, which is not fun as well. The next reason is, which is honestly, personally, my number one reason why I don't want to work with the small businesses and don't recommend my students is that there is a misaligned mindset, which kind of correlates to the point number 2 or 3. I don't really remember at this point, but it's the fact that small businesses are very reactive. They live in that fight or flight stress. They're not about strategy. They work in their business. And so when you come in, they want you work in their business as well. They're not really thinking strategy. They're not thinking big, long term, like quarter or the yearly budgets, KPIs, and stuff like that. And so a lot of the times what they do is actually they chase the fads, right? They think like, oh, I need to like create a bunch of TikTok videos, or like I need to go into the Instagram trends, maybe YouTube videos. And while some of those things might be important to them, they don't look at the things that are right there that might be the very reasons why they don't have customers, such as they might have leads that are laying dormant there, but they don't even think about it, right? They might be better off putting money into Google ads or YouTube ads, but they are afraid of investing the money into those very sort of machines that might bring them more clients. They're fearful because they don't really know how to use it. And so if there is a fear there already, when you come in, not only you have to convince them that what you have to sell is actually can help them. The second thing is, if they're fearful investing in the very thing that might bring them money, they might be very fearful investing into you and your services, which again, you'll have to do a lot of convincing. Now, I'm not saying that they don't invest, okay? Please don't take my words out of the context. What I'm saying is there is fear. And working with small businesses in my early days, I had to deal with that stuff, right? Now, a lot of the times, small businesses will be fearful because they have been churned and burned by other agencies. So that is an objection that you will have to overcome during a sales process. But if those people have invested, right? So they're not afraid of investing, they're afraid of being burned, which is a totally different objection, which is a fairly easy one to overcome. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people and business owners who are afraid of investing, period. Afraid of investing into their growth. Now, side note here is if you are finding that these are the type of clients that you are attracting, and I'm gonna sound very woo-woo here, but that's okay. This is what I believe in. You don't have to believe it, but I'm just gonna say, if you're attracting people like that, they're is something within yourself that attracting those people. And one of the ways to look at is okay, am I myself afraid of investing into improving my skills, into learning more? And if that is the case, you're attracting exactly the same people. So something's got to change. And the only way to change the world is to change something within us first. The last reason would be, I think at this point, reason number 5 or 6 is it is much harder to scale. So for example, let's say you're working with small businesses, you want to become the go-to guy or girl in your area, and you only want to work with small local businesses. Okay, that's fine. You have to realize that most likely you'll be charging your clients $1,000 to maybe $3,000 a month if per installation of the AI system and or then optimization and then also maintenance, which means that in order for you to make $15,000, you have to work with 15 clients, right? 10 to 15. If you want to make 20, you have to work with 20 clients, right? Now, even though a lot of things can be automated, and thank God for AI because it makes our life as agency owner much easier, you have to realize that in order for you to keep the clients, being able to retain clients, right, which is a skill in and itself, you will have to still have the sort of face-to-face conversation with them. And that is 20 clients is a lot. The maximum that I worked with was 7 clients. You guys, that's a lot of work. I was working nonstop from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and the word freedom did not exist in my life for at least 6 months. So imagine working with 15, 20 clients. It's almost like having 15, 20 bosses, right? The managers. I don't know about you, but personally, I don't think that I would want that. So these are my reasons why I personally would not recommend anyone working with a small business, with a few caveats, of course. And if you find yourself stuck at a certain level financially, these might be the reasons why. But if you are stuck and you can't really go any further, you might want to watch this video.